standings. You don't need me to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. The NL East is over. That's right. It's a wrap. No one is touching the Mets. Tweet me the hate all you want about the jinx. Nonsense. The Mets will be National League Eastern Division champs, and I don't even think the Braves are going to challenge them. The Phils, please, you've seen them. No one else is 500. What are you worried about, Mets fans? The Mets are only going to get better, and even if the Braves do turn it around, it will be too late. The NL East is over.
Is June 14th too late? I'm trying to understand the definition of too late because in a matter of about 10 days, the Braves went from 10.5 back to 5 games back. They cut 5.5 games off that Met lead. And if I'm Licata, again, this ham and egger coming on from New York in a minute, the funniest part of this is since he made that bombastic statement, and he stuck the landing, I'll give him credit. The delivery was right on. The Braves haven't lost. That's the funniest part of this because your viewers, because he said it on TV on SNY, or your radio listeners on FAN in New York, they're going to somehow think you had something to do with this. I'm not joking, folks. I got death threats. I got stuff emailed.
Not serious death threats.
No, I could show you some of this stuff.
I know. There are people who are angry about it. Here's what this is, though.
I had guys going, you should die. You shouldn't be on the radio anymore. You did this. You're responsible. Like, I'm telling you, people get invested.
When you're in that position where you made a statement that should be true or a really good chance is true, or maybe it's been true every single season of whatever sport up to this point. When you make that statement, then it starts to go a little sideways. You wind up in the Washington Post as to Atlanta sports yackers who said they'd go to prison if the Hawks win an NBA title. It was a pretty safe statement to make.
It was, but you also get...
you get on a roll, it's not so bad. He's going to enjoy it no matter what happens.
You end up on freezing cold takes and everybody. But let's be clear, too. We all have egos. We want to be right. There's nothing more fun than taking the victory lap of I told you so. It doesn't get you anything. It doesn't get you a raise. It doesn't buy you more listeners. It doesn't raise revenues on the radio station. But there is something in this hot take world where we live in where if you were right, you can take the victory lap and dunk on somebody. There's always that fun. Whereas when I was wrong, you've heard Ring the Bell on this radio station, on our show and other shows, I don't know, 5,000 times of the biggest whiff I've ever had in making an opinion or making, something I believed at the time. I wasn't just saying it. They were 7 games up. There were 67 games left. They were rolling. I thought they were going to do it. Licata, this ham and egger in New York, he did it with 100 games left in there. The Mets. It's different. All right, let me bring in the gentleman who, like I said, I give him credit for sticking the landing. He put himself out there, and I'm sure Mets fans are having fun with him. He's Sal Licata from SNY in New York and WFAN. He's kind enough to join us on the Hobson and Hobson Newsmaker line. Sal, how are you?
What can we possibly want to discuss on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon?
All right, I'll start because I'm an award-winning interviewer, Sal, and I've thought about how do I want to start this interview, and here's where I'll go. The hell were you thinking?
Well, let me say it loud and clear for those of us that didn't get it, because I saw some of the comments underneath that video, which I cannot believe that it got that many views. Let me just say this loud and clear. The NL East is over. If I thought the Mets were going to win the division before the year, and then I had that take when the Mets were up 10.5 games on the Braves in year, the Mets got back from the West Coast trip at 5-5, looking good to me. I've seen enough to believe in this Mets team. I believe they're winning the division, and it's nice to see the Braves making it a competitive division, at least for a change. But I believe the Mets are winning the division. End of story.
Have you practiced that in the mirror a lot?
No, not once.
Because I feel like, Sal, what I feel like, and I'm just playing amateur psychologist. I feel like when you're a Met, because you have some Met fan and you were in the media, but we have fans in us. Like, I feel like you say stuff if you're a Met fan, like I would for a Falcon fan, where I would try to believe it. So if I
really want it to be true.
Yeah,
I really want it to be true.
This will be different. This will be with the 7-game lead we blew with 17 left, and the 15 other times we told ourselves it was going to be. I feel like you're doing that to say it so you'll believe it. Is that a fair analysis?
That is not accurate. Also, I should know that I am a Falcon fan, so unfortunately, I could relate to that.
Oh.
Yeah, so
I ask you why?
I know all about that.
We'll get back to the Mets in a minute. Why?
So, 2 things. My grandfather used to watch the Braves when the Yankees and the Mets were on like paid subscriptions in the early 90s, and the Braves were a good young team. And then Dion, and I started watching the Braves with him, and Dion at that time was the man. Then I got, one of those starter jackets in school for the Falcons, and I never really looked back. So that's how it started with my grandfather watching the Braves and then me loving Dion as a kid. I know.
You have Mets and Falcons in you. That's a tough life. Tell me about it. How uncomfortable are Met fans? Because they live an uncomfortable existence. So Braves have won 12 in a row. Ever since you said that, they haven't lost. How uncomfortable is that? What are they? Met country, Met nation, Met sadness? How are they feeling?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people who are nervous. And look, I get it. I get the history. I lived it. I understand 2007. I understand the Mets haven't been, good in a while since 2015 or 16 when they made the playoffs. I understand this is a franchise that has made the postseason. Think about this. Even in the 80s, where they won the World Series in 86 and had that great team, they have only twice in their history made back-to-back postseason appearances, 99 and 2000 and 2015 and 16. So I get all that. But you know what? Realistically, that doesn't mean crap today. And here's why I love this team. Number one, Buck Showalter. Number two, they have the richest owner in the sport. Things done changed. You saw the guys that they got. Scherzer's out, but he's coming back soon. DeGrom, I'm not going to wait for him to come back because I worry that there's something serious with DeGrom. So until I see it, but they have the two best pitchers in the game yet to be here. And I'll tell you, I was skeptical of this start. But that series, the road trip series with LA, when they first started that series, they lost the first two games, and I swear to you, I'm thinking, here we go. This is it. It's about to hit now. The Braves are getting hot. The Phillies are getting hot. The Mets are going to get swept in LA. They had David Peterson and Trevor Williams lined up, and they won those two games. After that, that was all I needed to see to believe in this team this year.
Well, that's the response from me and Matt as two Braves fans in Atlanta. What are you thinking saying that? Is that the response you got from your listeners? Like, what are you thinking? You know too much to say this. Like, same response, just from a different standpoint.
Well, if you listen to the clip, I even said, I know that you're not going to want to hear this. I don't want to hear about the jinx. I don't care about that stuff. I wouldn't say it if I didn't believe it. It's the Mets' turn. By the way, I will say I'm excited that I'm excited. Well, you don't think it is?
I like how you're. Like,
I called it.
My 9-year-old's like, it's my turn. That's where the Mets are. It's our turn. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. Well, you make it. I mean, you guys do know the difference of last year's team and this year's team, right?
Well, I mean, I'm still basking in a championship, so share with me.
Well, right, and have that, by the way, go down after you win a World Series. This shows you Atlanta. They win a World Series, then you let Freddie Freeman walk. I mean, that's an embarrassment.
Well, no,
how does that happen?
Licata, you know better. That's not how the story went, right? You know that. I'm not gonna. I don't have to get into
left. He left, didn't he?
Well, yeah, he chose to leave, and he gave the Braves an ultimatum, and they went with Matt Olson. Seems like it's okay so far.
I mean, but that is, that to me, if that ever happened in New York, forget it. That would be a disaster.
Well, but you have to hold on.
I'm happy the Braves.
You have to win a title for that to happen. You got to win a title for that.
Well, I mean, you do realize that New York has the Yankees as well. You remember 96 and 99, right?
I know. I have a long memory, but the sad thing is they haven't won a title since 09, so I'm trying to go by recent history of winning titles.
Yeah, well, I mean, be careful this year. I will just state, just in case the listeners don't know, this is a New York baseball season. The Mets, the best record in the National League.
I know.
The Yankees, the best record in baseball. So we get
Sal,
all that.
this is what's happened in New York, and this is where I mean this sincerely. I used to look at New York and be like, man, what a great sports city. But now you brag on things like best records in June. This is like the Knicks doing we made the play. But this is the Knicks making the playoffs. This is the Knicks winning. This is the Knicks winning a postseason. But this is the Knicks winning a postseason game and celebrating like they won a title. Somewhere along the way in New York, you guys lost your your chutzpah. You lost something along the way. You celebrate this stuff now.
Well, the Knicks have been an embarrassment. No, this is not celebrating. This is looking ahead. It's a new time here. The Yankees are always in the postseason. You don't need me to tell you that. So while they haven't won a World Series since 2009, they're always in the postseason.
The Braves are always in the postseason. Who cares?
They are?
I'm sorry. You want to start going back and doing the math on postseason appearances?
Yeah, you could. I mean, you could. Well,
Sal,
look,
I'll take your side, all right, in the Freddie Freeman thing, because after the Mets won their most recent title, Danny Heap, he was off the roster the next year. I mean, it's the same sort of thing. So you go back to the Mets' last title in '86. So there you go.
Hey, if you want to compare Freddie Freeman to Danny Heap, God bless you. I'm familiar with Danny Heap, and I love that 86 team. And you guys talking big and tough like the Braves. I mean, the Braves in the 90s, they should have had how many? 3, 4? They won one measly World Series in 1995. You're going to pound your chest on that? By the way, did they sell out the World Series games in Atlanta?
Oh, God. Oh, Licata, come on. You don't want to do that because Yankee Stadium's been half empty for playoff games for the last 5 years. Don't go there. You know better.
Never.
How about those the seats?
There is never.
Do you want me to do screenshots, Sal? You don't want that?
Never.
Okay.
There is no way
You don't want
New York
screenshots.
baseball playoff baseball is ever. Anyway,
Listen.
let's get back to the point at hand here. You guys, I think you're misunderstanding. For some reason, you took offense for me saying the division
I took
is
no
over.
offense. I laughed at you.
Well, that's great. You could, but guess what? The Braves won 12 straight. Where are they at in the division right now?
5 back, and everybody's quaking up in New York. Quaking.
They won 12. They won 12 straight, and they're still 5 back. Think about that. The Mets haven't even gotten hot yet. What's going to happen when DeGrom and Scherzer come back? Then what?
They'll leave after being in for a start. Listen, hey, you and I both know how this stuff ends. You lived it, so have I. You know, Mets Braves. You know how the story ends. And again, I applaud you for trying to convince yourself, and that's a nice thing. I would do the same.
I'm not worried about the Braves. I respect the Braves. They had a great year last year, and I respect them this year. And I will say, and I've said this, the Mets have to go through Atlanta. They have not beaten them. They played 4 games this year, and they split it. That's fine.
You're right.
So they got 15 games left. They got plenty of games left, and I'm looking forward to it because when was the last time both these teams were good together? The Mets haven't been very good
that's the
at all
problem.
in recent years. You're going You're going back to 2000 when the Mets were good in 15 and 16. The Braves weren't there. It was more the Nationals were the team to beat.
Right.
You do realize that I don't know if you've made statements like this before and had it play out the wrong way, but if the lead gets blown and they lose it the last weekend of the season and your callers can't get enough of it, this is one of those things that's going to live for years, and it's going to be a good thing for you.
Well, I'm not worried about that. See, that's the other thing. I did not, truth be told, one of the producers for the baseball show that morning said, hey, are you comfortable with declaring the NL East over? And I was like, yeah, I mean, who doesn't think it's over at this point? Now, remember, go back to that. I know that things have changed.
No one in May.
It's May.
No, but the Braves, if you've watched the Mets, you know that the Mets are legit. And if you know the Braves weren't over, nobody was even over 500. A 10.5 game lead, that is absurd to pull away that early.
I don't know that Brandon Nimmo is legit. I just don't. I have to,
Well, do you watch him?
I do. I'm just saying. I don't.
No, you don't. If you, how do you not? I mean, look, you.
I'm not letting this. I'm not letting. Hold on. I'm not letting this deteriorate to Brandon Nimmo. I like my show too much. But what I will say is, I respect your ability to put it out there, Sal. And I said this to the audience yesterday, and we're going to talk about it. I don't even care about winning the division. Just it's more fun to beat the Mets. Like putting up that red flag, which is a championship last year. If the Braves win another division title this year, awesome, great, added to the bunch. Like that, I know for the Mets, that'll be a very big deal to get that division championship. For the Braves, it's just like another one added to the collection.
Correct, and that's why I'm so curious why people care about them. Why do you guys hate the Mets so much?
Oh, it's not hate. It's sadness. I feel sad for you. I mean this sincerely.
Why?
Sal, you think I'm kidding? I don't know what happened to New York City. New York City used to boast about championships, and everything else was we got to work harder. Now I'm watching Knicks fans celebrate one win in the playoffs. I'm watching Met fans brag on May baseball. I'm watching Yankee fans tell me about the best record in June. It's like, what happened? The Jets and Giants have nothing to brag about anymore. I don't know what happened.
Right. However, you're coming at it from an Atlanta perspective, and you guys know, I don't need to tell you this, you can't talk trash, period, in that town when it comes to sports.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just won a championship. I'm pretty sure I can talk whatever trash I want.
Well, that's great. The Braves finally won one. It's about freaking time. But you're bringing up basketball. Now, I haven't talked about the Knicks because the Knicks have been horrible for 2 decades. So you want to see you're getting on me for celebrating the Mets and Yankees being off to a great start. You're taking bows for a first-round playoff series last year with the Hawks and
no. See, the
Knicks are a joke.
Sal, that was an Eastern Conference Finals appearance. I know you don't remember seeing a team make a run like that.
I don't care about that. I'm talking about the first round. Head-to-head. Knicks Hawks first round.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Listen, Sal, I'm not coming at you. I'm just saying I don't know what happened to the Sal Licatas of the world in New York. How old are you?
I am 42.
Okay, so maybe it's a different generation, but the generation before you used to brag on championships, and now you're bragging on this stuff. I don't know.
Well, two things. I can't speak to anybody else. I don't brag on anything. That's what I'm saying. You're hearing the wrong thing here. I'm not bragging on it. Nobody in New York City or Atlanta has ripped the New York Mets over the last 10 years more than I have since being on the air. Nobody.
Say it in third person.
Which is why when I say something, it should hold some water. Now, I get that you guys don't hear me or listen to me or watch me often. You see that clip and you think, here's this loudmouth clown in New York bragging. That's not what's going on here. If you paid attention, you would know that I've gotten crap from Met fans for being too hard on the team for years. My own network saying the same thing. This is different. This team is actually, for a change, legit. Now, it's going to take time to see it. I get it. You guys in Atlanta don't believe it. You'll see. You'll find out soon enough.
I mean, I like your tone. I like your volume. And as I said in the clip, you stuck the landing. Sal, we appreciate you.
Are we over Matt Ryan yet? Because my heart is still broken.
I mean, it's on the Falcons for being a dumpster fire for screwing the thing up the way they did going after Deshaun.
Yeah, blessings to him.
Like I said to you, Sal, I compare the Falcons to the Mets a lot. They're both lost organizations who have these rich owners, and they just never can seem to consistently get stuff right. So we have some simpatico there. We'll end it that way. How's that?
Let's go Colts.
See you, buddy. There's Sal Licata.